Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. The next photo I'm going to go to, in a way for me is a best for last, because first of all, it's like a nice photograph. It could have even been that same day by the pier, because the hillsides are kind of, the topography kind of fits, but so it's a nice close up of you. No, actually, no. There's a different time, because you're wearing a pile jacket. You're wearing a scarf. It's a very close portrait. There's your face is on the left. You're just looking at the camera, and then you have. Is it the same dog as in the previous image?
Yeah. So this is Shelby again.
Okay. She looks a lot like my dog Kafka, and so for me, it's just like, aw, cute little sweetie. But the kind of expression on her face is more like, it's just like,
Is that me?
it's just like, come on, dude, really? And so what is the meta message, the underlying message that's here from this photograph that reinforces your mission and your commitment, or just because you've really shaped your life around this notion of kindness and action towards animals. So what's the meta message of this image?
So we were actually in the country park again. We were on one of our favorite walks, which is into Pak Lap area, and then we walked back out to Pak Tam Chung, and this was sort of at the halfway mark. It was a lovely wintry morning, so it was quite cool, and yeah, we were actually out there checking on the cows as per usual. So sometimes she comes with me, and we go for these walks and meanders around different villages, and to look and see if the cows, make sure they're okay, anyone injured or anyone in trouble. So anyway, that's what we were doing that morning, and yeah, she was quite tired, so at that point I'd picked her up, and I just thought it was a nice moment to take.
Aww.
But the expression on her face says otherwise. So it's a photo I like to look at, because again, you can just tell from a dog's face, expressively, and this photo, she's not too impressed with me picking her up. Number one, she's not a fan of being so I was trying to take a nice moment and memory of our lovely, wonderful wintry walk, and she was less impressed and just wanted to keep walking. So again, it's just kind of a reminder to me, to really think about how we treat our companions, and what we might find enjoyable, or what they might want, or what we might want to do, and our experiences may not necessarily be what our companions want. And so
Right.
really sort of reflect and think, before we do something, is it kind? Is it safe? Is it, something that they would enjoy? So, I mean, there's lots of different examples in Hong Kong I could bring up, but, do our dogs need to be dressed up? Do our dogs enjoy their experience and time at dog parks? Do we bring our dogs to different areas where we might want to go, but where they might feel fearful? So all these things that we could perhaps be thinking about better during our interactions with animals, or our day to day, just taking a few moments to think, what is the impact of my actions on this animal? Is this going to be something positive for them, or something negative? Or can I do something different, or make a better choice that will cause less impact to this animal, if it's going to be in a negative way? So again, just sort of reflecting on our human behaviors and the decisions, because that is the thing that we have control and power over. We have control and power over how we act. And so taking it that step further and thinking how our behavior and actions impact upon others, animals included, is something, again, that I really try and impart during these education talks.
Mm-hmm. So somebody who, in their own area, so for example, somebody who wants to learn more about, because I was looking at Animals Asia, and you have like Ricky Gervais, like images of Ricky Gervais on the webpage. You have like some really big names. So that's a very high profile. It seems, I don't know, from the outside, like a high profile organization, but somebody who wants to dive deeper into this idea of, how do I understand like animal cognition and sentience? Like where and how would you guide them?
I think definitely there are some fantastic resources out there. If you type any of those words into Google as a starting point, There will be lots of resources in regards to books, podcasts. Mark Beckhoff is someone who is fantastic in regards to his work on animal cognition and animal sentience. And he does a blog on different animal topics. I think it's in the Psychology Today online magazine. But he would be a good starting point to sort of broach some of these topics that can be quite in depth and quite feeling scientific, I suppose you would say, to begin with. But once you sort of get into things a bit more, it becomes fascinating. So obviously, Jane Goodall, some of the main key animal idols that I grew up with as well, watching some of the documentaries, some of the classics that are out there on, chimpanzees, for example, being our closest relatives and how
Hmm.
behaviors can be quite similar. As a starting point for your sort of average person who's not doing animal work day to day and not involved in anything really too much with animals. Psychology as well has lots of different resources on animal cognition and animal behavior as well. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, there's lots of different resources out there. You can also check out sort of SPCA in Hong Kong, and also I think your previous guest Kim McCoy as well. There's some different interest talks and topics. I think Cafe 8 with Maren Pierce is another one as well. They often hold different talks on the environment and different topics to do with local to Hong Kong. And so there's lots of opportunities out there if you just sort of look a little bit for them
Hmm.
themselves
Hmm.
occasionally. But I think just basically reading, research, searching for these things online, different topics that, it's a huge, vast area, animal behavior and animal cognition. So if there's something specific that you have interest in, there's a lot of resources that you can find online.
And so somebody who's just like, okay, so I'll put the links to that you've provided in the description and everything. But you have a moment right now. What, where do you think you would like people to go to just learn more, or people go to change their behavior to just make the world a better place? Like, how would you guide them?
I would say, as a starting point, you could go onto Animals Asia's website, and our wonderful founder and CEO, Jill Robinson, has a blog on there that's been running for quite a number of years. And so every week she will discuss a different topic to do with animals or our work. And it covers quite a lot of things such as sentience, cognition, behavior. And so that would be a good starting point if I'm going to do a plug for our organization.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's animalsasia.org. Yeah.
That's right. And it's just Jill's blog, which is on the front main page of our website. And if you go in there, it's lots of talks from our founder and CEO, the wonderful Jill Robinson. So, yeah, that would be a good starting point. And then what else? I think Facebook has lots of different interest groups as well on different animal
Hmm.
cognition and sites. So most of my Facebook feed tends to be animal stuff all day, every day. So just joining those different groups. There is scientific as well, academically published papers as well on different animal things. I think, again, using Google to search for those different topics brings up a lot of information. So no sort of
Right.
one specific website or link that I would give because there are so many.
Sure.
Depends
Sure.
on what aspect of animal sentience or animal behavior or cognition that you have interest in, because it's a huge field in itself.
Karina, thank you so much. It's amazing. This time tends to just go. When I asked you to join me, you said, "Oh, I'd love to today, but actually, unfortunately, the one, a cow just recently just passed away, so we have to go deal with what
Mm.
happened." And the last time I saw you was on the road, and you were shepherding cars around what looked like a newborn calf had just started walking on the road.
Mm.
It's called Buffalo Watch, but are they truly buffalo, or what's the species?
One final funny story. So when we started Buffalo Watch in 2009, we were a bit naive. We were a bit undereducated in everything cow, and so we called the group Sai Kung Buffalo Watch, but we actually don't have any buffalo in Sai Kung. So it's a bit of an amusing point now. We were going to change it to Sai Kung Bovine Watch.
Hmm.
Then we just decided to leave it, and it's kind of a bit of a running joke now that it's Sai Kung Buffalo Watch with no buffaloes in Sai Kung. So they're actually
Hmm.
feral cattle in Sai Kung. anybody visiting the area, we encourage people to enjoy their presence, to use cameras, to take moments and memories of their meeting of these wonderful animals. But we do ask that people give them a respectful distance. They are animals that, although they're classed in Hong Kong by law still as livestock, the generations that we have around Hong Kong now, they are born wild, they are living a wild lifestyle, and so it really is not advisable to get close to them, because they
Mm-hmm.
again have feelings just like we do, and they might not appreciate that. And so you do have to keep safe, but also give them respect. They deserve respect. They deserve some distance. They shouldn't be chased after. We've had people trying to ride them in the past. Sorts
Yeah.
of human behaviors that really don't need to be done, and make the cows very
Sure.
uncomfortable, and puts everybody, cow included, in a dangerous situation. And so just respect space, quietness, calmness, enjoy their presence, but don't try to interact with them. And also as well, in rural areas, not just Sai Kung, but also on Lantau, also in Shung Shui, Kam Tin, Yuen Long, those areas also have cattle and buffalo as well. Please, please slow down. It's not just these animals that sometimes are on the roads, but we also have porcupine, we have wild boar, we have monkeys, we have snakes. We've got all sorts of creatures that, unfortunately, because we've built roads through their areas, they have to traverse these
Mm-hmm.
areas to get from A to B. And so the best thing that we can do is to try and obviously be mindful of the speed limits in Hong Kong. It's 50 unless otherwise stated. So anything
Mm-hmm.
above that, especially at dawn and dusk when most of these animals are going to be moving around, please just drive with awareness, drive as slow as you can. Obviously, accidents do happen, but if you do hit something, unfortunately, please don't just leave it by the roadside, dying
Sure.
slowly and alone. There are obviously vets that will come to try and help if possible. If they can't, they will end the animal's suffering and misery. And so really, please do report to the police, would be the first point of call. If it's obviously local to Sai Kung, I'm happy to help where I can and get those people to the animal as fast as possible. But just report something. If something does happen, don't just leave it. Please do seek help for it. And SPCA are another point of call as well.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I am a big fan, and I really appreciate how much time and effort you personally do. Like, you are clearly one of the good people. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting